friends, it's Sam. In today's video, I thought I would share a little of my, I guess, tips or advice that I've gathered, just some like different things I noticed, I don't know, things I think would be helpful for other people who are going to study abroad. If you did not know, I actually just came back from Barcelona, Spain. I was studying abroad for this past spring semester. It was great, loved it. Have a bunch of like travel vlogs up on my channel if you want to go check those out. So yeah, I have a nice little like list here that I've compiled of things I thought would be useful for people to know, like things that maybe I wish I would have known before I went studying abroad. So I hope that this video is helpful for you, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. Okay, so the first topic is packing, which is, I'm sure a big concern, especially for females, maybe also males. I don't know, I'm not a male. It was definitely a slight issue for me. My bag ended up being 20 pounds overweight. It's fine, didn't have to pay, shout out to the airline worker. So me personally, I had one checked bag, which was like a big suitcase, one carry-on little rolly suitcase, and then one backpack. So actually when packing, I did pack a lot of things that I kind of knew I was going to like leave or use up by the time I was done with the trip. So I had like a few pairs of old leggings that were kind of like getting a little see-through. I knew I was going to get rid of before I left. And I kind of brought some clothes that I like didn't really care about if I had to leave there, if I wanted to make room for new clothes when I was there. And then also a bunch of my bathroom stuff, like I think I brought shampoo, like lotions, I don't know, face washes and just things like that. I knew I would use them up, and then obviously not bring them back, so I would have more room for stuff. So that's just something to think about while you're packing. So also when packing, it's important to think about the weather for not only the place that you're going to be studying abroad in, but also in the places that you want to travel in, because it's important to have clothes for both types of weather. For example, because I was studying in Barcelona, so the weather wasn't like too cold there, and by the time I was leaving it was like very hot. Actually, it's pretty warm, but I was traveling to places, you know, like Germany, the Netherlands, Budapest, and Hungary, so those places were significantly colder than Barcelona. I did end up investing in like a longer winter jacket while I was there, which proved to be very helpful. But don't forget to pack for the country's weather that you're going to. That is important. Okay, sorry, my battery died. I had to like recharge and like take a little break, so we're back now. But I'm pretty sure I'm still talking about packing. So yeah, pack clothes for all different types of weather. Also, just pack like very versatile, I don't want to say the word, clothing. So things you can kind of like mix and match. I mean, of course you're gonna like buy clothes when you're there, but it's just easier and obviously helps you pack less if you buy things you can like mix and match with each other instead of packing maybe like just statement pieces and things like that. Also, it is good to invest in like a good backpack or good carry-on. A lot of people I noticed had bought, or maybe they already had them, I don't know, like hiking backpacks for like weekend trips, because I'm sure you're gonna want to be traveling if you're going to Europe, especially since like traveling is so much cheaper over there. But yeah, a lot of people would bring hiking backpacks because they just look like normal backpacks and they're easier to carry, but they have more space in them, and I think it's like better support for like your back and stuff. So those are really helpful. But a thing to note is that if you're flying with the budget airlines, which I'm sure you would, because why would you like want to spend money on the expensive ones, you can only bring one carry-on, which at least I know when I fly, I think American is what I usually fly, you can have like a personal item and then a carry-on, but no, you can only have one item on most of those airlines, so just take note of that. Okay, so next topic is travel, because that was a nice segue into packing to travel. So like I was saying, you're probably going to want to travel a lot just because it is so much more cheaper and affordable there, but as with any like thing that you're planning, you are gonna want to try and book things as much ahead as possible, so flights, or if you're taking trains, and as well as booking like hostels or Airbnbs. I stayed like 99% of the time in hostels over spring break. I stayed in an Airbnb and a hotel like once each, but other than that I would stay in hostels. Hostel World is a really good website that has a bunch of like reviews of different hostels in different cities, and it ranks them based on like location, cleanliness, friendliness of staff, things like that. I would always look for the cleanest ones because that is very important to me. A lot of people think that hostels are like gross and weird, but honestly, every hostel I stayed in was like very nice. It was a good time. They would usually have like bars on the lower floor, so you could like get a drink at night, get something to eat, meet new people, which was really fun. So I would definitely recommend trying out hostels. Airbnbs are super cool if you kind of want to get, I guess, more of like the local experience maybe, but a lot of times they are expensive, especially because most people are traveling to bigger cities, which are more touristy, so the prices are going to be higher. But if you're going with a larger group of people, it's definitely cheaper to just split an Airbnb. And as for flights, trains, kind of transportation, the website Skyscanner is really good because it will help you find the cheapest flights and cheapest trains, which is great, saving money. And while you are going to want to travel a lot, you know, take advantage of the time that you're there, obviously, I think it's also kind of like important. I feel like a lot of people say this, but it is like really cool, really important to travel or like explore within the city that you're staying in. I feel like literally every person who's ever studied abroad says this, so I don't know if anyone actually follows this advice, but I definitely wish I would have explored Barcelona a little more. I definitely don't think I really missed out. Oh, hi Puff. On much, but there were still, you know, like a few restaurants, like a couple parks, just things I never really got to try. So definitely make a point to try and explore the city you're in. And then the last thing I'll talk about with travel, which is kind of, I don't know, different maybe, is like language. I feel like some people, or a lot of people, I don't know, are afraid that like the language is going to be an issue. And honestly, the people in Europe, pretty much anywhere that's not America, are kind of like a lot ahead of us because they all know like their home country language and then English as well. And a lot of times more languages than that, so Americans need to step it up. But while you are traveling, most places I went do speak English, so not an issue. I did also speak a lot of Espanol because it's my minor, so I didn't really have issues communicating in Spain, and I actually really liked communicating in Spanish because it definitely helped me learn, helped me improve my skills. So if you are trying to use a new language, then definitely try and learn and practice and talk with locals and things like that. Next thing, phone plan. I feel like a lot of people are kind of like concerned, confused, unsure of like what to do with their phone since you're going international. I would not recommend what I did. I have Verizon and I did some international plan. It was like, it was the cheaper one. I don't know, whichever one it was. But I ended up going over on my data like a lot, like a lot. A lot, because if you're lost and you need to like find your way out, or if you're trying to like communicate with your friends to meet up with them, then you're gonna want to use your data. So I would definitely recommend just getting an international SIM card. You can, I think you can buy them online, but I'm pretty sure like everyone I knew just bought them there, like once we got to Barcelona or wherever you're going. It's super easy. I know if you have Verizon, your phone is like already unlocked, so you can switch out the SIM card yourself, but I think on other carriers, I don't know if it's like all phones because I have an iPhone, but I don't know, I think it's all phones. But if you're with another carrier, I think you have to like call them or call Apple. It might just be for iPhones, I don't know, I'm sorry, and have them like unlock it so you can switch out the SIM cards first. But definitely recommend doing international SIM card because then you can have data wherever you want, and it was like a lot cheaper. I think most people who did the plan, it was like $15 a month for a good amount of gigs, and I don't think they ever really went over. So definitely do international SIM card, save your dollars. Okay, so another important topic is money. So I'm sure if you have friends or people you know that have studied abroad, they tell you that you really are going to spend all your money, and like that is so true. Like it is so true. There's not really a way around it. I mean, you just gotta save and you just gotta go into it like expecting to just spend. If you want a budget, like I would, you know, recommend doing that just so you don't go too crazy. I am pretty good about saving my money, I personally think. Like I don't really go out to eat a lot, you know, I don't really buy things I don't need, I don't really go shopping that much. When I do, I go to thrift stores. But there I was like, oh my god, like we gotta go out to eat here, we gotta go out to eat there. And part of it was because they did have a lot of good vegan restaurants everywhere, which I don't really have a lot of vegan, specifically vegan restaurants where I live. So it was just fun for me to try things like that. The groceries were very affordable there, which was good. but you're just gonna spend a lot of money. If you take public transportation, that's way cheaper, but you know, you gotta get a metro pass. If you're gonna go out to the bars, to the clubs drinks are so expensive, but I just love going to clubs. It was so fun, but like drinks would literally be like 10 to 12 euros, which was crazy. And yeah, so just going out to eat. And then if you're traveling, which I traveled to a different city pretty much almost every weekend, you know, you gotta pay for your flights or your trains or whatever. You're gonna have to buy food when you're there. You're gonna have to pay for your accommodations. So I would just save as much as you can, you know, just be ready. You can always come back, you can work, you can just get the money back. I know a lot of my friends that I met studying abroad were like, can't wait to work this summer to get all this money back. And I was like, I feel you. So just be ready, just be conscious. It's fine. You only have this chance once in a lifetime pretty much, so just ball out, you know, just ball out. All right, so now moving past general things and kind of more into like specifics of Barcelona slash maybe Spain in general. Not really sure. I didn't really get to travel around Spain that much. But yeah, just a few things I noticed were like different. I thought were interesting, cool. I don't know. Anyways, one thing that is very, very different in actually all of Europe to America is service in restaurants. So since they actually pay their workers a good amount, a good hourly wage, they don't get tips. So the customers, you don't have to tip, which saves you money, I guess, which is good. I don't know. It's like already added in the bill, I think. So since the waiters aren't really working for tips, and European culture and especially Spanish culture is just a lot more like relaxed in general, they aren't really like, the waiters don't really, I'm not saying it was bad service, definitely wasn't bad. It was just a lot more slower. Like in America, you're definitely used to people coming up to your table every like 15 minutes, like, how is it? You want some more water? Like when you're done, they're like, here's the check, pay when you're ready. No, not in Spain. You really have to factor in like extra time if you're trying to like go out to eat and then go do something else, because it just takes so much longer for them to like come get your order, come see how you're doing, I don't know, come take your food away. Especially getting the check, that was like my least favorite part, because you have to like, normally pretty much every time you have to flag down the waiter and be like, hey, can I get the check? Which is normal there, like it's totally normal. I'm just a weird person, I don't know, I just felt like weird. I felt like kind of rude flagging down the wait. I don't know, but that was just, I don't know, just weird for me. But I mean, it's not weird at all. They were never offended. They were like, oh yes, here's the check. Also, they don't really split checks there, like never. So I would definitely recommend getting Venmo or what's the other one, Cash App, or just something to like repay your friends back, because they really don't split checks there. So be ready for that. Next thing, personal space. I didn't really have a huge issue with this, but some people, if you really like your personal space, just be ready for people to be more in your bubble, I guess, you know, on like public transportation, especially in the metro. I mean, I'm sure if you use like the subway or something wherever you live, then you'll understand, but it can get really crowded. Sometimes like you'll be sitting on the metro and there's like a bunch of open seats and the person will just sit next to you and you're like, why? But you're just kind of like, okay. It's just, I don't know. I, again, can only speak from my experience in Barcelona, but people are just much more like touchy there. Honestly, like every day I would see people walking down the street holding arms, you know, just like girlfriends holding arms, so like not just couples. You know, they do the thing where it's like to greet other people. It's just a different culture. So if you are like wanting your personal space, just kind of mentally prepare for that. They don't really mean anything by it. It's just like how they are, if you didn't know. Okay, so one thing I did like in Barcelona, and also just in Europe in general, is they, like, recycling is so much more prominent there and so much easier. I live in South Carolina and in like a smaller city, so we do have recycling, but you usually have to like pay if you want someone to come pick it up from your house, or you can like drive to designated recycling areas and recycle, which if people don't have time, people don't have gas money, it's obviously a lot more off-putting, or it seems very much more inconvenient for people to recycle if they don't want to pay for someone to come pick it up from their house and you have to drive, like factor that in. So in Spain, like they had they were like dumpsters, but they were for recycling, just like on the street. Like literally every street corner they would have like dumpsters, and then they would have paper, plastic, and like glass, which literally made recycling so much easier. And it was so much better. Like in public bathrooms, in like the school bathrooms, they wouldn't have paper towels, they would have like the hand dryers. It was just so much more eco-friendly over there, which I love, because one of the main reasons I'm vegan is because I wanted to be more eco-conscious. So love that. Okay, one thing that wasn't so good about Barcelona, this is only Barcelona, so if you're studying there, beware. The tap water is disgusting. I don't know what it is. I like googled it and it was something about like the rivers it comes from or something. It tastes like literal ass. Like, I don't give a flip about drinking tap water normally. Like when I'm here in the US, I'll drink it whenever, and people are always like, oh, we have a Brita, and I'm like, I'm too lazy for that. But Barcelona, it was so bad. Like, I kind of got used to it, but it was literally so terrible. Awful. Terrible. So I'd always have to buy bottled water, and they would have like huge bottled waters, but like I tried to not use as much plastic as I possibly can, so just like using more plastic for me was really annoying, even though I was recycling it. So just be ready for that. Every other European city, literally every other European city I visited, tap water was fine. It tasted normal, tasted good, you could drink it, you didn't feel like you were dying. It was fine, especially Rome. Oh my god, if you go to Rome, amazing. The water was amazing. A blessing. Alright, last thing I'm going to talk about, this at least was true for my program and for what I've heard pretty much everyone I've known that studied abroad say, the classes studying abroad are so much easier. So much easier. And I don't know if it's just the study abroad classes or if it's like their school system in general, but like it was just so much easier. Although I will say attendance, at least the teachers I had, the program I was in, blah blah blah, attendance was a lot stricter, I guess. I feel like at least in my university in America, I can kind of like the teachers say you can only miss 3 classes, but it's kind of like won't affect your grade too much. But there it was kind of like they would keep tally, and like you really had to be mindful of your attendance. I took all business classes, 1 Spanish class. Like, I did learn, like, don't get me wrong, I loved my classes, teachers were all super nice, but just like the workload, like the test, it was so much easier. Like, I'm kind of scared to go back to school in the fall because it's going to be so much harder, but that's something to look forward to, so just thought I would share that. Alright, I'm going to end the video here. I think this is already extremely long, but as you know, I do like to talk a lot, but I hope this was helpful if you are considering studying abroad and were looking for tips, tricks, helpful advice, and things like that. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask me in the comments below. So yes, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next video.